And to Detroit now, where a mother is charged with the murder of her 9-year-old son.
The remains of Zamar King were found buried in a backyard home in January. Zamar's mother, Brandy Pierce, facing a judge today, charged with 5 counts, including first-degree murder.
The 7 investigators finding Brandy Pierce was the subject of a Child Protective Services complaint at least 4 times. Records showing she told CPS he had not been, or rather Zamar told CPS he had not been to school in over a year, did not always have food, and said his mother would strike him with a belt and choke him. Zamar saying his mother wanted to kill him. And according to internal records, CPS closed the case, finding no evidence of physical neglect.
6 months later, Zamar was dead. 7 News Detroit reporter Randy Wimbley is following this case in Detroit.
Pierce arrived in Detroit Thursday evening, 16 days after the Wayne County prosecutor first announced those charges. She's being held without bond.
The people of the state of Michigan versus Brandy Catrice Pierce.
Brandy Catrice Pierce stood stone-faced during a video arraignment Friday. The 41-year-old mother was recently extradited from Georgia to formally face charges for the murder of her 9-year-old son, Zamar King. Assistant prosecuting attorney Tina Ripley asked the court to keep Pierce behind bars.
The facts in this case are nothing short of egregious. Zamar King was a 9-year-old child who was treated like he was a piece of garbage. He deserved better.
Rayad Murad, Pierce's attorney, says she suffers from mental disorders that she may not have taken her medication for.
It's easy to, read off a police report and read the most egregious allegations and then confine somebody to jail. What I'm asking the court to do here is to use the least restrictive means possible and confine her to a homeless shelter.
7 investigators obtained records dating back to 2015, showing Pierce was the subject of 4 CPS complaints. The records show Pierce admitted to using marijuana and alcohol while pregnant with Zamar. The boy was found wandering alone in the lobby of an apartment building when he was 4 years old. 2 years later, Zamar was left alone in a locked vehicle in 78-degree weather. And last April, the boy told CPS he had not been to school in more than a year. He sometimes has no food to eat and that his mother whoops him, choked him, and wants to kill him.
Fast forwarding to October of 2024, we believe that the evidence will show that the defendant's mother suffocated Zamar and that the defendant heard his last gasping breath and decided to walk away.
Investigators say Pierce fled Michigan with her other son and ultimately landed in Georgia. Police there arrested Pierce for leaving the boy locked in a rental car for about an hour while the temperature was in the low 40s. Police say the boy was naked, his skin cold to the touch, and there was feces in the car. That child now in foster care in Georgia. Now Pierce is set for a probable cause hearing next week. As for Zamar King, his funeral will be held at Cantrell Funeral Services in East Point Saturday.
This woman right here is just pure evil, and treated her 9-year-old son like crap. Why do people always gotta blame it on mental? Oh, suffer from mental issues. Oh, they forgot to take their medicine. That's why they was so depressed. They forgot to take their mental, they have mental issues. Why do people always use that as an excuse? Because they don't want to go to prison. They hoping that people try to play like they're crazy, try to pretend or try to play crazy like they don't know what they're doing. This woman know exactly what she was doing. Okay? You whooped the boy. You whooped him. You made him starve to death. The boy even said that he ain't been to school like a year. This kid here was crying out for help. And they claiming that they didn't find no evidence, no nothing on the boy. Nothing. This kid was crying out for help. Got an evil, twisted, low-life woman right here who's a poor excuse as a mother right here. A loser. That's what she is. A straight-up loser. Couldn't handle to raise 2 kids on her own. If you was going through the press that bad, then why didn't you just give your kids up for adoption? Why didn't you go to social service and just tell the people that you're going through hard times? You're going through hard times. It don't cost you nothing to be honest with the people. You just take your child there and just say, look, I'm going through things, I'm sleeping in my car, I don't want this to be my kids. My life is all screwed up right now. I'm living out in the streets. I'm homeless. Why didn't you just do that? If it pressured you that much. I don't understand people like these. It's better to go to the fire station or go to the police station or go to places like social service and tell the people why you're not able to take, you're not able to take care of your kids. You're going through hard times. I don't understand why people rather kill their kids. They would rather throw their kids in a trash dumpster. They would rather sit there and murder their kids than to go to places like social service or go to the police station and have a sit down talk with the folks and let the folks know. Let the folks know that you're going through hard times. It's not going to cost you nothing. But y'all would rather kill these kids. You parents out there would rather kill these kids. Y'all would use these kids and take your anger out on these kids. Y'all want to use these kids as y'all's frustration punching bag. Things don't go your way, you go there and you beat on the kids because you're depressed. She's a grown ass woman. You know what I'm saying? It's her responsibility to take the medicine. It's no different than being sick. If you're sick, you know when you're supposed to take your medicine. You know when not to take it though. So I don't want to hear that lame excuse. You know what I'm saying? Talking about mental issues, suffer from mental depression and everything like that. That still does not excuse you from killing your 9-year-old son. That poor boy did everything he could. He cried out for help. No one didn't believe him, and God knows when the boy freaking told the folks, she probably beat that boy to death. Right when they left, she probably beat that boy to death. And she didn't really say anything. She had nothing to say. Nothing. Where's the father at? I don't understand you parents out there. You dudes out there get these kind of women pregnant, man. These women don't care nothing about their child. Because they already mad that they gotta raise them by themselves. And some of these women get mad and take their anger out on their child. Because you're not there to be a father. Either y'all abandoned them or you're locked up in prison. Or some of y'all probably might be thugs, street niggas and probably dead or whatever like that. And y'all get these type of women pregnant, man. These women don't be caring nothing about these kids, man. They already mad that they gotta raise these kids by themselves. They already mad at you. And when you not being there to be a father and be a man and man up and be in a child's life, these kind of women get angry about it and they take it out on these kids. They do. Raising 2 kids by yourself, especially a single mother or a single father, not easy. Ask any single person out there that had to raise 2 or 3 kids by themselves, and they would tell you it's not easy raising 2 or 3 kids by yourself. Or even one. If you got one child, it ain't easy. But it does not give you an excuse to sit there and beat on that boy and take your anger out. You should just gave that boy up for adoption. That boy probably would have had a better life, a better family. This kid had a future. But instead, you want to just beat on that boy and take your frustration out on him. If you despise him that much, then why didn't you give him up for adoption? That's all you had to do. Well, no need to do all this and beating on him. For all you kids out there that's 9 or 10 or 11 years old, if you're in a situation like this, run away. Run away. Go to a neighbor, go to your next door neighbor's house or run down the road, get away, tell somebody to call the police for you. And explain to the police that you are terrified and you do not want to go back to whoever you're staying with. You kids out there need to speak up. Because I know one thing, if I was 9 or 10 years old, I'd have ran away. I would have found somebody. I would have knocked on one of my neighbor's doors and I would have been crying my eyes out. And I said, can you please call the police? You know, my parents is abusing me and I'm afraid to go back and I fear for my life. Oh, yeah. I'd have been crying. Would not want to go back. No way. I'd have been a crazy 9 or 10-year-old kid. I would not want to go back. I would have explained to the police and told the police everything. You know, that's what that kid should have did. He should have just ran away. Even though he did try, he reached out and, you know, those people didn't want to take that boy's word. Now they wanted to do this kid justice now. Why y'all want to do justice for him now? Y'all should have did justice for this kid when he was alive, but now this kid is dead. Now suddenly y'all want to do justice for this kid when this kid was crying out for help. The system down there in Detroit ain't shit. It ain't. It ain't nothing, man. I seen plenty of people, parents, abusive parents, get away from stuff like this. They get around it somehow. I don't know how they do it, but they somehow get around that stuff. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Peace.